Agnello John Neil Dellacroce, March 15, 1914, December 2, 1985, was a powerful and respected figure in New York City's organized crime scene, serving as underboss of the infamous Gambino crime family. Rising through the ranks, Dellacroce became underboss after Carlo Gambino sidelined his predecessor, Joseph Biondo. Known for his ruthless loyalty and strategic mind, he mentored future boss John Gotti, helping shape the next era of the Gambino dynasty. Dellacroce was born in Manhattan's Little Italy to Italian immigrant parents, Francesco and Antoinette, and grew up deeply influenced by the tight-knit, gritty neighborhood around him. His Americanized nickname, Neil, was derived from his birth name, Agnello. He had one brother, Carmine, and later married Lucille Riccardi, with whom he had 4 children. As a young man, Agnello Dellacroce tried his hand at honest work as a butcher's assistant, but with jobs hard to come by, he soon drifted into a life of crime. He was briefly jailed for petty theft, but quickly returned to the streets, adopting a unique disguise that would become infamous. To elude both law enforcement and rival gangsters, he sometimes roamed Manhattan dressed as a priest, calling himself Father O'Neill. Rumor has it he even committed a murder in this disguise, adding to his chilling reputation. Dellacroce was said to enjoy taunting his enemies, reportedly using a body double to make public appearances and create confusion. His name, meaning Little Lamb of the Cross in Italian, stood in stark contrast to his dark nature. According to one federal agent, Dellacroce took a twisted satisfaction in his brutal work, allegedly watching his victims' final moments with a sinister intensity, almost like a dark angel of death. In the late 1930s, Agnello Neil Dellacroce began his journey into organized crime by joining the Mangano family, a notorious group that would later evolve into the powerful Gambino crime family. From early on, Dellacroce became entangled with prominent figures in the organization, including underboss Albert Anastasia, known for his ruthless reputation. When Vincent Mangano, the longtime boss of the family, mysteriously disappeared, Anastasia assumed leadership and quickly recognized Dellacroce's potential, elevating him to the rank of capo. His tough, square-shaped face earned him the nickname the Polak among some members, a name he was unlikely to hear directly, as few dared utter it within his presence. As Dellacroce rose through the ranks, he became a mentor to a young, ambitious mobster named John Gotti, eventually helping to shape Gotti's path in the criminal underworld. Dellacroce also acquired the Ravenite Social Club in Manhattan's Little Italy, transforming it into a hub for Gambino operations and his personal headquarters. The club became a gathering place for family members, strengthening Dellacroce's influence. However, on October 25, 1957, Anastasia met a violent end, gunned down in a Manhattan hotel barbershop, a bold assassination that paved the way for Carlo Gambino to seize control of the family. Nearly a decade later, in 1965, Gambino made another strategic move by replacing the aging Joseph Biondo with Dellacroce as underboss, further solidifying Dellacroce's power within one of New York's most feared crime families. The Knapp Commission, established in 1970 to root out corruption across various sectors, uncovered compelling evidence linking mobster Agnello Dellacroce and his associates to several after-hours bars in Manhattan's West Village. This connection to nightlife and underground scenes added a layer of intrigue to Dellacroce's operations, revealing the Mafia's reach into unconventional business fronts. In 1971, Dellacroce found himself sentenced to a year in state prison on contempt charges after refusing to provide testimony before a grand jury investigating organized crime. His legal troubles deepened when, on May 2, 1972, he was indicted on federal tax evasion charges. The indictment centered around Dellacroce's connection with the Yankee Plastics Company of New York, which allegedly provided him with 22,500 shares of stock, valued at $112,500 in exchange for ensuring labor peace, an arrangement that allowed him a foothold in the company while avoiding federal taxes on this income. In March 1973, Dellacroce was convicted of tax evasion and subsequently sentenced to 5 years in prison along with a fine of $15,000. Meanwhile, his longtime boss, Carlo Gambino, passed away on October 15, 1976. In an unexpected twist, Gambino had chosen Paul Castellano as his successor, bypassing his underboss Dellacroce. Gambino's reasoning appeared rooted in Castellano's expertise in white-collar crime, which he believed would lead the family into more lucrative, less violent ventures. This decision, made while Dellacroce was still serving his sentence, left him unable to challenge Castellano's rise to power, setting the stage for future tensions within the Gambino crime family. On November 24th, a pivotal meeting took place that solidified Castellano's rise to power, with Dellacroce in attendance. As part of the agreement, Castellano ensured that Dellacroce would retain his position as underboss, but the arrangement also placed him in direct control of the family's traditional illegal enterprises, including extortion, robbery, and loan sharking. Despite accepting Castellano's succession, this power-sharing agreement effectively created a division within the Gambino family, splitting it into two opposing factions with competing interests. In 1979, Dellacroce found himself embroiled in legal trouble when he and accomplice Anthony Plate were arrested in connection with the 1974 murder of Charles Calise, a bookmaker from New York City. The FBI believed that Dellacroce had orchestrated Calise's murder, suspecting him of being an informant. However, as the trial unfolded, Plate mysteriously vanished, and with no clear evidence or witnesses, the case ended in a mistrial, leaving the family's internal struggles unresolved. This incident further highlighted the deepening rift within the Gambino family and set the stage for an escalating power struggle that would shape its future. On February 25, 1985, the notorious Mafia figure Dellacroce was indicted alongside the leaders of the 5 powerful New York crime families as part of the infamous Mafia Commission trial. This legal proceeding targeted the heart of organized crime, casting a long shadow over the criminal underworld. Just a month later, on March 28th, Dellacroce, his son Armand, and 8 other associates faced federal racketeering charges tied to the illicit operations of 2 criminal crews that had been running in New York City and Long Island. The charges marked a significant escalation in the battle between law enforcement and the Mafia. In June of the same year, Dellacroce's name became the subject of public controversy when a Doonesbury comic strip, which depicted Frank Sinatra alongside Dellacroce, suggested that he had been charged with the murder of Calise. The comic, meant as satirical commentary, caused a stir, leading many newspapers to pull the strip from their publications due to its sensitive content. As the year continued, on July 1, 1985, Dellacroce and his fellow Mafia leaders entered not guilty pleas to a second round of racketeering charges as the trial raged on, threatening to dismantle the powerful Mafia empire. However, this turbulent chapter in Dellacroce's life came to a tragic end later that year. On December 2, 1985, Dellacroce succumbed to cancer at the age of 71, passing away at Mary Immaculate Hospital in Queens. His death marked the end of an era in the New York Mafia, leaving behind a legacy of both criminal notoriety and lasting influence in the world of organized crime. John Gotti and Neil Dellacroce shared a close and complex relationship, built on mutual respect, loyalty, and a shared vision within the Gambino crime family. Dellacroce, a longtime member of the family, was a mentor to Gotti, who looked up to him as both a father figure and a seasoned criminal who knew the ins and outs of the Mafia world. Dellacroce was known for his discipline, caution, and ability to manage the family's operations quietly, while Gotti, with his charismatic personality, had a flair for the spotlight and a more aggressive approach to expanding power. Dellacroce was an important and stabilizing force for Gotti early in his rise to power. Dellacroce, as underboss, held significant sway within the Gambino family, and his loyalty to Paul Castellano, the family's boss at the time, was unquestioned. Despite Gotti's growing ambition to take over the family, he remained loyal to Dellacroce even as tensions within the family rose. Dellacroce, however, didn't have the same ambitions as Gotti. He was content with his role and focused on maintaining the family's operations, and he played a crucial part in Gotti's eventual ascension to the role of boss. Unfortunately, Dellacroce's death in 1985 from cancer set the stage for Gotti's rise. Before his passing, Dellacroce reportedly gave Gotti his blessing to take the reins of the Gambino family. Though Dellacroce's death gave Gotti the opportunity he had long been waiting for, he was never able to fully replace the mentorship and support that Dellacroce had provided. Despite their eventual paths diverging, the relationship between Gotti and Dellacroce remained rooted in respect and loyalty, with Gotti often referring to Dellacroce as a guiding influence in his life. In summary, their relationship was one of mentorship, trust, and loyalty. Dellacroce served as a mentor and stabilizing force, while Gotti's ambition ultimately led him to take over the family after Dellacroce's death. Gotti respected Dellacroce immensely, and their bond was integral to his success within the Gambino crime family. After Dellacroce's death in 1985, Castellano restructured his leadership plan, naming Thomas Bellotti as the new underboss and intending to dismantle Gotti's crew. Gotti, enraged by Castellano's actions, particularly his absence from Dellacroce's wake, decided it was time to eliminate his boss. The perfect opportunity arose on December 16, 1985, when Castellano and Bellotti were scheduled to meet with other Gambino mobsters at Sparks Steakhouse. Gotti orchestrated the ambush, and when the pair arrived that night, they were gunned down by assassins under Gotti's command. Gotti, along with Sammy Gravano, watched the hit unfold from a nearby car. In April 1988, tragedy struck again, when Armand Dellacroce, the son of the late mobster, died in hiding in the Pocono Mountains of Pennsylvania. Convicted of racketeering, Armand had evaded sentencing the previous March. His death was attributed to cirrhosis and a cocaine overdose. Dellacroce was known for his loyalty, discretion, and strategic thinking, often acting as a stabilizing force within the Gambino family. He was instrumental in the family's expansion and protection rackets, ensuring their dominance in New York City's criminal activities, including extortion, loan sharking, and illegal gambling. Dellacroce's influence was also felt in the family's interactions with other crime families, as he helped mediate disputes and maintain alliances. However, his legacy is most strongly associated with his connection to John Gotti, who later succeeded Castellano as the head of the family. After Dellacroce's death in 1985, Gotti moved to eliminate Castellano and took control of the Gambino family. Dellacroce's passing marked the end of an era for the family, with Gotti's rise to power significantly altering the Mafia's operations in New York. Overall, Neil Dellacroce's legacy in the American Mafia is one of quiet power, loyalty, and strategic management, which helped sustain the Gambino family's influence during a transformative period in organized crime.